Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you have had a really good week. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. For those of you who tune in every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, welcome back right here live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And for those of you who are watching the replay on YouTube, welcome. Be sure to like, subscribe to Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube. Thanks for those who are still starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from today. Today, I am actually in sunny Florida, in Tampa Bay area, Florida, where I reside. And thanks again for those who are starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. And I'm feeling much better, by the way. So for some of you who are on last week's mental health moment, I was really sick. I got sick on the plane ride back home from Bali with my family because my son was sneezing on me a million times. I think I had like tea last week and all the things, but I'm feeling a lot better. And thanks to those who are still starting to join here. So I'm feeling a lot better today, and I'm glad to be back with you all. LA is in the house. Welcome. Riverdale, Georgia's in the house. DFW. Greetings from Virginia. Welcome. California, Alabama, Texas, Boston, Arizona, Maryland's in the house. Thanks so much, you guys, for tuning in today. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment for those just joining. So today, I'm going to be talking about affirmations because a couple of weeks ago, someone brought up in the chat this notion of affirmations, and it's sort of like, well, do they work? What are they? How do I do them? And again, on mental health moment, for those of you who are new, this is about becoming the best version of who you are for you, so you can show up for yourself and also for those around you. And thanks so much for those still starting to join here. So all the tips that I give, all the wellness tips, the stress management, self-care, all those types of tips every single week live right here on 8 p.m. on Tuesdays. It's something you can incorporate into your life. Some of the things you're gonna be like, man, this is the best thing that ever happened to me. Some of the things you're gonna say, you know what, this one doesn't work for me, but maybe tune in next week and you find something else that works for you, but you have to do what works for you. But today we're talking about affirmations here. And thanks for those who are still starting to join here. Blue Island, Illinois. Welcome. I've never heard of that city, but that's so cool. That sounds pretty cool. Enterprise, Alabama. Welcome. North Carolina's in the house. Los Angeles is in the house. Qatar's in the house. Welcome. Sacramento, California, Philadelphia. Thanks so much for joining here. Again, it's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. So a couple things about affirmations. First of all, affirmations are basically what you probably have already seen online for those of you not familiar. And it's short phrases, or it could even be words or something that you say to yourself to kind of pump yourself up, to be your own cheerleader. So a lot of times, like I've, if you're not new to mental health moment, you know that I've reminded you, sometimes you have to tell yourself, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be emotionally healthy. I deserve to have joy. Those types of statements, right? It's statements about maybe what you deserve. It's statements about who you are. You can say, I am beautiful. I am powerful. I deserve good things. I am confident. All the things that you can say. There's a gazillion affirmations, right? But they're positive statements that you can tell yourself so that you can work on your own mental health and your wellness journey. And thanks to those who are still starting to join here. Indianapolis is in the house. Welcome. I think should be in Indiana actually next week. Dallas, Texas is in the house. Welcome. And thanks so much for joining here. So today, again, we're talking about affirmations. Do they work? So the first thing to think about with affirmations are, yes, some of the research does show it can be helpful, but the biggest thing with that is it has to be consistent. So whatever it is for you that you need to work on. Let's say you're like, Dr. Hammond, I need to work on my self-love, which a lot of us do, and that's fine. You need to work on self-love. You need to work on you feeling worthy of whatever blessings that you want in your life, whether it's love, whether it's money, whether it's losing weight, whether it's job, whatever it is, you need to feel worthy of certain things, right? So you put your affirmations somewhere where you can see them. For some of you, you may put it on your cell phone. You can kind of check in throughout the day. Say those affirmations to yourself. For some of you, you can put on a post-it note, you put it on your mirror in your bathroom, or you put it in your car if you're driving, or wherever it is that you can see these things often. How you do your affirmations is completely up to you. For some people, it's first thing in the morning. For some people, it's the last thing at night. For some people, it's throughout the day on their lunch breaks. For some people, they have an alarm set on their cell phone. I've seen people actually, I knew someone that does this. They have an alarm set on their phone where it'll literally, like you could have a reminder, but instead it has certain affirmations at different times of the day, right? Just to remind yourself these things. But one of the biggest things about affirmations is the consistency. If you're trying to retrain your brain, you all, as we know, we talk a lot about mindset training on Mental Health Moment. And thanks for those who are still starting to join here. Good evening from San Francisco. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. But if we're trying to retrain our brain, first of all, your mind is powerful, you all. It's very powerful. It takes time, right? So I by no means am saying if you said whatever positive statements, whatever positive affirmations that you need to work on, that this is going to magically cure you from any depression, anxiety, or anything you're going through overnight. Of course not. But what it can do for you is it can start to retrain your brain. If you're working on, again, the self love, if you need self confidence, if you, whatever it is that you need right now on your wellness journey, you work on retraining your brain. And one of the ways you can do them is through affirmations. Thanks for joining here from Zephyr Hills. Welcome, welcome. Detroit, Michigan's in the house. Welcome. Thanks so much, you guys, for joining here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your Mental Health Moment. For those of you just tuning in, we're talking today about, do affirmations work? Because I know you've seen them. You've probably seen it. It's such a buzz thing to do now. I feel like just everything that's online about affirmations. But the first thing to think about is do your best to be consistent. And again, I gave you a couple examples before, but you have to do what works for you. For me, because I strongly believe we have to be our own cheerleaders. Personally, I say my affirmations throughout the day. And sometimes I look in the mirror and I got to pump myself up, right? I got to say my positive statements to myself, because certain days you might not have anybody cheering for you, and that's okay. And certain days everybody's cheering for you, right? So it just depends. But regardless of if you are so fully supported in your life or you feel all alone, either one of those categories or you're somewhere in between, you should be your own cheerleader too. So you get in the mirror, or you get in your car, or you get in your bed before you go to bed at night, or when you wake up, or wherever it is that you are, and practice saying these positive statements with yourself. And greetings from San Diego. Welcome, welcome, with 5 exclamation points. All good. I'm glad you're excited to be here. I'm excited to have you. But you practice these positive statements for you. And if you don't know where to start, literally you can Google positive affirmations. There's a gazillion things you can say to yourself, but find the ones that really connect with your heart and your mind and your soul, right? So certain things, here's the second thing about affirmation. The first thing is you have to be consistent. The second thing is start with the things that you actually really believe. Okay. So there's certain things I've read, certain affirmations. First of all, they're really long. Some of them are long. And I'm like, okay, I mean, it's up to you. It's, again, your preference, but I'm not reading like a whole paragraph when I do my affirmations. For me, it's very quick, right? Very quick, short phrases or short sentences. But you do what works for you. And you'll see, if, like I said, when you can just Google affirmations or examples of affirmations, and you can find a couple. Just find a couple. Start with a couple, maybe 2 or 3, and then add that into your daily practice. Again, at the times that work for you. You may not be a morning person. I certainly am not. But you may be a night owl, or you may want to do this during the lunchtime hour, or you may want to, again, set the alarm on your phone for this affirmation to come up, or wherever it is that works for you. But again, the goal of the affirmations, all you're trying to do is retrain your brain, reset your brain into some positivity for you. Right. And here's the crazy thing, you all. I don't know if you know this about your brain. And but thank you for joining here from North Carolina, San Jose, California, and Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome, welcome. Here's a crazy thing about your brain sometimes, which is amazing. Your brain, like I said, your mind is very powerful, you all. So sometimes your mind does not know reality from imagination, right? So, which is why a lot of people we talk about visualization and those sort of things. We talked about this on mental health moment before, but when you visualize certain things, your brain, your mind can really have the feelings that those things are happening. And I share that with you because when it comes to affirmations and you're telling yourself all these positive things, even though you might be struggling with depression, anxiety, and all those sorts of things, a part of your mind will start to believe those things, which is a good thing, especially if you're working on self love and the positive things you're saying about yourself. So you may not believe it logically, or you may know it logically, but may not believe it emotionally first. But when you start to continue to tell yourself those things, your mind can start to believe it, which is what we want, right? And maybe it'll put you into a calmer space, which is also what you want, a calmer space for your mind, a calmer space for your body. Um, Someone said, oh, I love that. Someone said, when I was going through the darkest days of my life, dealing with death/grief, I plastered these words across my brain. I can do this. I will get through this. Beautiful. That's wonderful. That literally is amazing. And again, so a statement like that, that's a great example. And thanks for putting that in the chat. A statement like that in the beginning, you're probably not even going to believe it. Like it's hard sometimes. Well, affirmations come in many different forms. Sometimes it's just hard and we're struggling and we're, going through dark times and all those sorts of things. So you might not believe it at first, but you can work on trying to train your brain so you do believe it and it does become a part of who you are. And I will say this, that affirmations don't work for every single person. Okay. So for some of you, you might be like, I tried that. That doesn't work for me. That's okay. There's plenty of other things that you can do. Mindset training, if you will, resetting yourself, getting into a positive space, working on who you are, becoming the best version of you comes in many different forms. This is just one example today, you all. And sometimes if you are dealing with some darker times and the depression and the anxiety and all these other things, that affirmations and those types of self-help tools are not working, you might have to seek a mental health professional, which is okay. Which is okay, right? It's okay if you have to take that step. And please do take that step if you need it. If maybe this isn't as helpful on your own, then work with somebody, work with a professional, talk to someone that you trust, talk to someone you support, right? Have someone else involved in your wellness journey. Someone says, my own someone says my own cheerleader, woohoo me. Listen, there's nothing wrong with that, you guys. Yes, please be your own cheerleader. Okay. And that's not to say that you have to live in this bubble and you have to be your only cheerleader. Hopefully, I hope you have some positive people and support around you, but regardless, be your own cheerleader. All those people who are in your life can't be with you 24/7. You are literally in your thoughts every single moment that you're awake. You are in your thoughts. You are telling yourself things. Most of the things, unfortunately, are negative, according to research. But we're going to work on changing it into more positive things and believing those things about yourself in your journey of wellness, in your journey of being the best version of who you are. Yep. Someone said, let's see, our affirmations addressing our negative thoughts and disposition. So affirmations come in many different forms. It can be. So there are literally affirmations, you all, like I said, you can Google this, but dealing with physical health, there's affirmations dealing with spiritual growth, there's affirmations dealing with mental health, with emotionally, with financially. There's so many different types of affirmations out there because I don't say all it is because I'm making something simple. It's pretty complex, but essentially you're telling yourself certain things. People have ideas about money. People have ideas about abundance. People have ideas about spirituality, about your physical health, your emotional health, who you are as a person, all those types of things. So your goal with your affirmations are to shift your mindset. If you're in a negative place in that area of your life, whatever area it is, it might be financially, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, wherever that is, right? So you work on retraining your brain. And I can tell you because yes, I do, like I said, a lot of my own cheerleading in my head sometimes it's in the mirror, but it is a process. It has been helpful to me personally. Professionally, I've seen it helpful to a lot of people, but does it work for every single person? Of course not. But you have to do what works for you. So hopefully that answers your question. Someone said perception becomes reality. Absolutely. It sure does. It really, really does. Really, really does. Someone said, "What is the difference between affirmations and manifesting?" Ooh, that's a good question. Someone said, "Glad to be here. Sorry so late." All good. It's all good. So what is the difference? To me, honestly, it depends on how you use things. So I love the idea of manifesting too. I know it's all over the internet, all over TikTok, all over the social media as well. But depending on the reason why you're saying the thing, right? So an affirmation could be, I deserve to be loved. I deserve to feel happy, right? You might not necessarily be manifesting anything, but you're trying to convince and tell yourself these things. You might have been hurt. You might have had something traumatic happen to you. Maybe you lost a job during COVID, like millions of people did. Like all these things you start to tell yourself negative things about yourself. And sometimes affirmations can kind of get you back on track of where you need to be. Whereas manifesting is you're very intentional. Manifesting also comes in many different forms, but you're very intentional about something that you want. And a lot of people have also gone to sleep like reading certain things, believing certain things. So it is reading those statements and doing those certain things, but it's more of an intention for things to change in your life and certain things to happen and certain outcomes to happen. But if you are, which is a little different what we're talking about today, but if you are in that space where you're trying to, manifest certain things through prayer, through the universe, or whatever it is that you believe in, I will say also, and this is something, her name is Jennifer Huff. A long time ago, this amazing woman that I had the pleasure of being in her retreat once, she always said at the end of whatever you're saying to say or better. So whatever you want to manifest, if it's a new house, a new car, or money, or clothes, or a relationship, or whatever it is that you want to manifest, make sure at the end of those statements you're saying or better, right? Because you never know. Sometimes what you think you want is not the best thing for you in that form that you're trying to manifest. But if you say to, again, whichever higher power you believe in, I want XYZ or better, then the better thing, whatever that thing is, can come into your life as well. So I hope that answers your question. But someone else said, God, I need to retrain my brain. I'm so hard on myself, and that's another thing that is, ooh, man, that's a whole nother mental health moment. But that also is a process. And actually, I think we did talk about that a while back, probably last year sometime, a mental health moment, because and I can tell you all personally and professionally, like the being hard on yourself thing, this overly self-critical part, sometimes it is attached to self-love. It might be attached to trauma. It might be attached to disappointment. It might be attached to all sorts of different things. But working on releasing that can definitely can possibly be done through affirmations as well, right? So again, working on telling yourself you deserve to be happy, you deserve to be emotionally healthy, you deserve to, fill in the blank for you. Um, again, can work on retraining your brain to not be so overly critical. And a lot of times too, what really helped me was which is a whole nother mental health moment too, but retraining the thoughts that come in. Because if you're the type of person that's very critical of yourself, more than likely you're telling yourself negative things often. So when those negative thoughts come, you have to work on retraining and turning into something positive, or at least something neutral. When those come in, you recognize them and turn it into something else. And it is a process. It's not overnight by any means, but it's something that can be helpful because you absolutely deserve to have joy. Like, no, we don't have to be so overly harsh on ourselves all the time. We don't have to overly tell ourselves so many negative things all the time, right? You deserve to have positive thoughts and positive conversations with yourself and good things to happen to you, right? So that's just something to keep in mind. Someone said, be blessed. You too. Someone said, claim it. Yes, absolutely. And someone said, why is mental health so taboo in the African American community? Is it because of upbringing? That is definitely one of the reasons. There's a lot of different reasons, but really the research shows, I mean, yes, sometimes due to upbringing, sometimes it's taboo due to trust of mental health professionals. Sometimes it's taboo due to, yeah, long-term cultural belief systems. It could be there's a stigma of mental health anyway. There's a cost is an issue. There's insurance is an issue. There's so many aspects of mental health that are affected, especially in the Black community. However, the good news is there's a lot of organizations right now that are trying to reduce the stigma of mental health. So I've seen that. I've kind of been behind the scenes on certain organizations and seeing the amount of work that a lot of mental health professionals are doing, which is exciting. So there's a lot of changes, I hope, coming down the way. But thank you for your question. Um, Someone said yes. But thank you for your question so much. So those are the things I wanted to share with you all today. Again, when it comes to affirmations, one is make sure that you are as consistent as possible. When I say consistent, it doesn't have to be the exact same time every day that you're telling them yourself these things, but try to be consistent. If you're saying, you know what, I really want to change my journey through self-love or self-confidence or this sadness or this whatever it is that you're going through, if it's a daily, if it's a weekly, is a monthly, like um when are you able to say these affirmations to yourself? So try to be consistent in that respect. Ideally, if you can be consistent in the time of day, that would be great as well. Um, and the other thing to recognize is, yes, this does not work for every single person, but it has been helpful, and a lot of research shows that it has been helpful for a lot of people. Um, Someone said, "I see people run from it, but I'm glad to hear about resources." And I think you're talking about mental health, and the mental health resources, and also, um, or maybe we were talking about affirmations, but nonetheless, yes, be consistent for sure with your affirmations. Understand this is a journey, this is a process, this is not overnight. This is just another tool in your toolkit. So again, if you're like, yes, this is me, I want to be my own cheerleader. I hope you are, right? Because not every single day someone's going to be around you cheering for you. That's just unrealistic. But you can be your own cheerleader every day. So I hope that you make that decision to do that. Again, if you use the mirror, if you're in the car, if you're at home, if you're out and about, you could, if it's on your cell phone, wherever it is that you need these reminders to do these affirmations, please do them in the way that works for you. And then the last thing to remember is, if you're like, man, this is whatever you're going through is just too much. Like, it's just, affirmations can only help to a certain extent, right? But it's just too much. Whatever you're going through, if you're in a really dark time and it's just not enough to get through and to shift your mindset, then always think about reaching out to a mental health professional. So if you're in the US, you can reach out to the American Psychological Association. That's apa.org. AP is in Paul, a.org. There's resources like NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI.org. If you're out of the country, because I know we have a global community here, you can definitely search in your area for counselors as well. If there aren't any counselors in your area, and just wherever you live, there's not a heavier emphasis on mental health professionals necessarily where you live, then think about your community. Think about where you live and who can be helpful to you, who can you trust, who can you talk to, right? But there's a lot of different ways we can work on bettering our mental health. These are just a couple of examples. Um, someone said, I love affirmations. They get me through the day and it helps keep me on a positive path. Beautiful, beautiful. And someone said, thank you for the reminder to love ourselves first. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is a journey, you all. It's a journey to do that. But when you get to that point and you make the commitment to you, to your self-care, to being better, being a better version of who you are, your life really does change. Is everything magically wonderful and there's no more disappointments in life? Of course not. But you can deal with the things that come along in your life a lot better when you bring the best version of who you are to these situations. Someone said, I had to work on my mindset change to positiveness, and it really works. And meditation. Beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. You're so welcome. Welcome, welcome. So you all, if you guys need me at any time, you can reach out, drnikishahammond.com, or on Instagram, dr.hammond, or LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter. You can be sure to connect with me on any of those social media platforms. If you need a resource, you can always reach out as well. I'll do my best to try to connect you in your area to a mental health professional. Good evening from Texas. Thanks so much for joining here. So I will be back next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Have an amazing week. Start your affirmations if you haven't already, or continue them if you're already doing them. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday, 8 p.m. So have a great week, all. Bye, guys.